I'm going to share with you how exactly I come up with content ideas, how I organize and batch my content weeks in advance, and ultimately save a ton of time. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, the #1 place for VAs, social media managers, and designers who are really looking to build that standout brand online and live the laptop lifestyle. Now, I get asked a lot of questions, whether from my clients or those in the DMs, on how I actually come up with a load of content ideas so I never run out, how I plan and create my content, and ultimately how I go ahead and automate it so I can actually focus on those other tasks within my own business. So that's why in today's video, we are going to go ahead and dive into exactly that. Now, before we begin, the whole reason why planning out and actually batching out your content in advance is so dang important is that it actually allows you to focus your creative energy at one time, so you aren't just bouncing from task to task, planning things last minute, or wasting a lot of time. Essentially, you're going to be way more efficient with your own time if you do designate a specific day of the week or a specific day of the month to go ahead and actually batch your content in advance. So when it comes to actually crafting your content, the very first thing that you want to go ahead and do is #1, brainstorm and research those content ideas. Now, there's definitely a lot of ways that I go ahead and go about doing this, but the first thing that I really want you to know is that you should have already established your own content pillars prior to even going ahead and crafting your own content, because this is going to make coming up and actually finding those content ideas that much easier. And if you don't actually know what content pillars are, they are essentially just 3 to 5 topics or themes that you are actually going to be continuously talking about within your own content, be known for, and ultimately support your own brand. So for example, let's say that you're actually a social media manager and your ideal client is travel photographers. So your 3 pillars might be content strategy, visibility for those specific photographers, and travel and living that freedom lifestyle. And because you've gone ahead and you've actually established these specific pillars, you can now find various topics that actually fall underneath each pillar and then talk about those within your own content. A great way to actually find these ideas and topics is by #1, leveraging your own analytics. Now, if you're a completely new account, this obviously isn't going to help you out too much, as you don't actually have a lot of posts to compare that data to. But if you are in the early stages and you have done some of that content creation, you can go ahead and actually check your own insights and just see which reels are performing the best, which posts, etc. And then from there, actually leverage that information and just make sure that those types of content pieces and graphics are a key part of your content strategy moving forward. You can also use this data to go ahead and repurpose your content as well and just say, okay, this post performed really well. It's obviously resonating with my own audience. How can I go ahead and repurpose it, create a quote, a carousel, a reel, etc., and ultimately increase the lifespan of it. The second way that I really love to find content ideas is by actually utilizing Pinterest. So one of my own content pillars is living that laptop lifestyle. So I could go on Pinterest and type in that search button, laptop lifestyle tips, and just see what are the top pins that are showing up, see if I could actually relate those to my own audience, and ultimately put my own unique take and spin on that same topic. So for instance, I could go ahead and take this pin right here of the 11 things no one tells you about digital nomad life and actually make my own post out of it. And as you can see here, I did actually make a post about the pros and cons of living the laptop lifestyle in another country. So essentially, I just took that topic that I found on Pinterest, made it my own, and made it relatable to my own audience. The next way that you can actually go ahead and find those ideas is through podcasts. So for me, I actually have a few favorite podcasts that I literally love listening to. And what I'll do is I'll actually kind of just scroll through the titles and say, okay, this is something that I can actually talk about. I have my own unique experience or perspective on it. It's relevant to my own audience. Let's go ahead and craft a piece of content around that. And another way is to actually go ahead and look up trending topics on YouTube that are actually relevant to your own niche, as that's going to give you an idea like, yep, people are obviously interested in that topic, they find value from it, and like I said earlier, you can go ahead and actually put your own perspective and spin on that same topic. So now that you have all of these content ideas to work with, the very next step is to actually go ahead and plan out your content. Now for me, I actually love to use Asana for this, as it does allow me to actually map out my own content calendar and just visually see all the topics that I'm going to be talking about, whether on my Instagram account, my YouTube channel, or even through my own email marketing. But to kind of show you an example of how you can actually go ahead and create your own Asana board, I'll actually show you my screen right here. All right, so I actually made an example Instagram calendar here for a social media manager. And for this example, let's just say that her ideal clients are travel wedding photographers. So her 3 content pillars are, again, content strategy, visibility, and actually tying in the whole travel and freedom lifestyle. So when you go ahead and you put in your own content pillars here, you can kind of just always refer back to them just to make sure that all the content ideas that you do go ahead and include does at least fall underneath one of your 3 to 5 content pillars. And now that you've brainstormed and researched a bunch of ideas, you can go ahead and actually jot them all down here and really start to map out what content ideas you are going to include for this month or even this week. So basically you can just drag and drop these and assign each of them a due date. So whatever ideas you have that are actually going to be scheduled out this week. And what I actually like to do is look at all of these topics that I do include for that week in calendar view. Now, a huge tip that I have for you so that your content is actually cohesive, builds your brand, and does in fact move your message forward is to actually have a weekly or monthly theme. So if I go to this overall content calendar example right here, and I go to calendar view, then I can actually put my weekly themes in. So right now I've actually put them in like Sundays category because I never post on Sundays. And like I said, this is just an example, but what you can go ahead and do here is actually put in weekly themes such as like increasing your story visibility. And that way all of your posts for this week actually tie into that specific theme. So I actually go over this a ton more in depth with my own clients, but this is exactly how I plan and map out my own content. And if you do have any questions around this, go ahead and drop them in the comment section below. Now, the next step is to actually go ahead and create the content. So now that you have all of your ideas down, the weekly themes for the month, and the post titles to actually go along with it, it is now time to create and batch your content. So for me, I personally batch my content 1 to 2 weeks at a time, but you can really do whatever works best for you and your business. But like I mentioned earlier, I do highly recommend actually batching your content. Otherwise, if you wait till the last possible second to post, you are going to be scrambling to come up with those ideas. You're going to spend twice as long just trying to create one single post. Versus if you go ahead and actually batch your content, you can actually just take one chunk of time to come up with all of those ideas, focus on one task rather than bouncing from one to the next, and ultimately be in that creative flow state. Now, when it comes to actually batching your content, I do really recommend batching your photos as well. I personally go ahead and take photos just every few months, and I either hire a brand photographer or I just ask friends who also need content if we just can kind of do like a photo shoot swap. And then from there, once I've gotten a whole load of photos, I go ahead and actually just put them into my phone on Lightroom Mobile, add the same presets that I bought a while back to all of them, and voila, that's it. From there, I can actually go back to my Asana board, see what ideas I've actually listed there, and then batch write my content for that week or for the next few weeks in a Google document. I mix up my feed with graphics and quotes and reels, IGTV, and those lifestyle shots just to kind of keep things interesting on my feed while also providing a lot of value to my own audience. When I do use graphics, I do personally use Canva. I use the paid version, but the free version works just as well. And there are tons of different templates that you can go ahead and choose from, various photos and even fonts but just make sure that all of the graphics that you do create are in fact on brand, and the topic that you do choose does fall underneath one of your 3 to 5 content pillars. And once I have all those key pieces down, I then add all the graphics and the photos to later, which does have a free version as well, but I just kind of play around with a different look of my feed just to really make sure that everything looks cohesive and visually appealing, since Instagram is a very visual platform after all. Now, the very final step when it does come to content creation is actually automating it. So now that you have all these ideas, you've planned out your feed, you've written your content, and you have all the visuals to go along with it, all that's left to do is to go ahead and schedule it out. So on Leader, or whatever app that you do choose to schedule out your content in, you can go ahead and actually designate specific days and times that you are gonna post each and every week. And then from there, you can just add the copy, include your hashtags and the graphics, and then schedule it out. This way, all you have to do is press that save button, and it will actually publish your content automatically without you having to do anything. But a tip that I do have for you is just make sure that whenever you do go ahead and you schedule out your content, you are able to actually be active on Instagram at that same time, so that you can go ahead and engage and respond to all of your comments. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed these tips on how I plan, batch, and automate my own content. If you did find this video helpful, definitely remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you do have any questions or any specific topics that you would like me to make a future video on, definitely leave it down below. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make today count, and I'll see you in the next video.